Hi and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. So today is going to be the e-reader tag, and I was tagged in this by Tara Talks Books. Tara is quite a new channel to me. We've been chatting over the last few months. She reads a whack of romance and loads of Regency romance as well. So if that is your bag, go over and check her out and give her a wee subscribe. So the first question is, what is the first e-reader that you ever owned? What was your reason for getting one, and were you a reluctant convert or were you quite eager? So the first e-reader I ever owned was a Kindle, and I can't even remember the make or model, but I'll put a picture in. It was like the very first Kindle that had like the big clunky keyboard and everything attached to it, and it was absolutely massive. I was quite chuffed to get my first e-reader, to be honest. I wasn't reluctant at all. I'd went through a period where I wasn't really reading too much, and so I felt like I needed to try and make a change to force myself into reading a wee bit more, and I feel like that did help. I was quite happy to carry that around with me. If I was going on holiday, I would take that as opposed to packing a big stack of books, and I felt like it was a time in my life, I was in high school, and so it was just a wee bit more convenient for me to have and carry around than to be carrying about physical books. And I feel like it helped get me back into reading a wee bit as well, because I had went through a period where I just really wasn't picking anything up, and I went through a period where I wasn't really sure what I liked to read as well. I sort of struggled to make that jump from like the books that I was really into as a child into finding books that I enjoyed. And my mum has quite different reading tastes for me. She quite likes a lot of crime, and she quite likes a lot of like true stories, whereas I don't really. And so she was like giving me some of her books and trying to make recommendations, and they just weren't gelling for me. And so I think the Kindle allowed me to take a punt on some books because they were either free or were a bit cheaper than normal paperbacks, and I found YA fantasy through the Kindle, which was excellent. And so I was really happy to find some more books in that genre that I really enjoyed, and that was all thanks to my very first Kindle. I actually don't have an e-reader now. I did have my very first Kindle, and then I think I had another 2 Kindle upgrades since then, but then I just got really back into physically reading, that I felt like I didn't really want to be using my Kindle anymore, to be honest, and I wanted the physical books. You know, one of the big changes for me was that I moved out from my parents' house, and so I actually had my own space and I had my own bookcases, and so I really wanted to have like physical books all around me that I had read or that I was excited about, and that was something that then just became really a priority for me over my Kindle. And because I was a lot more into physical reading, if people were buying me books or gifting me books, I was finding that I was gravitating towards them than picking up my Kindle anyway. So I don't have one. Do you read digitally on multiple devices or always on the same device? I don't read digitally anymore unless it is an ARC that I receive, and I just use the Kindle app on my phone for that, and so I use it on the same device all the time. Do you still read physical books? If so, how do you decide which format to read a certain book in? I obviously predominantly read physical books, however I have a massive audiobook addiction these days, and audiobook is how I do majority of my reading sometimes, because I like putting an audiobook on if I'm pottering about and doing stuff in the house, or if I'm doing a bit of DIY, if I'm cooking, if I'm getting stuff at work set up. I really like just having an audiobook on in the background while I'm doing other bits. I think how I decide how I will read it sometimes is determined by the length of book and the genre of book. If it is a genre that I read from a lot, so a YA fantasy or a horror for example, I am pretty comfortable just sitting reading that physically, and I know that I will get through it in quite decent time in. If it's a genre that I don't read from a lot, if it's maybe a literary fiction or a classic, I will tend to audiobook that, because it's something that might take me a wee bit longer to get into and something that might take me a wee bit longer to read, and so I really want to give that book its best chance, and that I feel is by audio for me. I think if it is a really long book, even if it is in my preferred genres, then I'll tend to audiobook that as well, because it's a wee bit less daunting sometimes. Even if I just do some of it on audio and then jump to the physical copy, you know, I do that quite a lot, or I'll sit and I'll have the audio on while I'm reading along with the physical book if I'm maybe struggling to shut off a wee bit, if my anxiety's bad, I'm feeling I'm not really focusing on the book, I'll sometimes do that just to keep my mind on track. But aye, that's how I decide. What is something you dislike about e-readers? So when I had mine, the thing I disliked most was when it would run out of charge. If you were at a good bit of your book, that was very, very frustrating. And I'm sure anybody who faithfully uses an e-reader can relate. Would you ever ditch physical books completely and become a sole ebook reader? If yes, why? If no, why not? I couldn't, I just couldn't do it. I really like the comfort of being surrounded by my books, and I know that that sounds daft, but there's just something, and Simon gets this as well, like when we're in here and we're sitting reading our books, it's just so comforting to be surrounded by all the other ones. And there's just something that I really love, and like the wee buzz that I get when I finished a book and I know I get to come through to the library to pick my next one. And I just never really got that same buzz scrolling through my Kindle library. This is far more preferable to me, and I just love books. I am so passionate about physical books. I was going to say obsessed, and maybe obsessed is a wee bit more word, a better word, but then I felt like if I say passionate, then it's a passion. You know, if I say obsession, that's quite negative connotations, but it's both the same for me, I guess. Where do you get your ebooks? Kindle store, library loans, or a third party website? So like I said earlier, I don't really read ebooks. The only time that I read an ebook on my phone is if it is an ARC. I tend to get ARCs through NetGalley, although I am not requesting as much these days. I only request books by either authors that I know already like, or if it's a book that just sounds like far too up my street to no request. But sorry, the dog is nose whistling into my coffee straw. Leave that. I tend not to request because I just went through a period a couple of years ago where I was requesting and reading like 2 or 3 NetGalley books a week, and it was just too much and I scun up myself with it, to be honest. And then I'm quite lucky enough that I get to receive ARCs by authors. I have authors who will reach out to me via my email or via my channel and ask me if I want ARCs, which is always cool and always really exciting. And then there's a couple of authors that I've maybe read from previously, and because I was an advanced reader for their last book, they'll maybe give me copies of their other books as well, which I really, really enjoy, and it's definitely a perk of doing this. I've found some of my favourite authors through ARCs that I've received, which is very exciting and very, very cool. Lastly, tag someone. So I am going to tag Anne from Angie's Book Chatter, because it's no a tag if I don't tag her. I'm going to tag Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, and I'm going to tag Jack from Spread Book Joy. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything you're reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!